Hello, and welcome to this chapter on ethics and social responsibility within an organization. So, what we're going to look at is the common types of workplace deviance, what kind of influences ethical decision making, what steps managers can take to improve ethical decision making, learn to whom businesses are socially responsible, examine how organizations can respond to societal demands for social responsibility. So, defined, ethics is a set of moral principles or values that defines right and wrong for a person or a group. Ethical behavior is the behavior that conforms to the accepted principles of right and wrong. Workplace deviance is unethical behavior that violates organizational norms about what's right and wrong. Ethics is a capacity to reflect on values in the corporate decision making process, to determine how these values and decisions affect various stakeholders, and use these tactics in daily management decisions. When management resolves to act ethically toward stakeholders, employees will be positively affected. A positive public image can attract customers who view such an organization as a desirable place. Many businesses live by a code of ethics, which is a formal statement acting as a guide for how people within their organization should act and make decisions. Some of the principles companies live by are the Golden Rule, believe it or not, act in a way you would expect others to act toward you, and the utilitarian principle, act in a way that results in the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Kant's categorical imperative is to act in a way that the action taken under the circumstances could be a universal law, rule, or behavior. Professional ethic is take action that would be viewed as proper by a disinterested panel of peers. The TV test. Would I feel comfortable explaining that to a national TV audience why I took this action? And legal test. Is the proposed action legal? There's also the four-way test. Should be able to say yes to the following questions. Is the decision truthful? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to everyone concerned? Whistleblowing. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act was created to support whistleblowing as a vehicle for both discouraging deceptive management practices and encouraging ethical management practices. Whistleblowing is the act of an employee reporting suspected misconduct or corrupt practices within an organization. A whistleblower is that person who reports the alleged activities, but they're not always protected as stated. Personal ethical behavior is pretty much a simple one. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, the Golden Rule. There's types of workplace deviance are production deviance, unethical behavior that hurts the quality and quantity of work. Property deviance, unethical behavior aimed at the organization's property or products, and I'm going to say equipment. Political deviance is using one's influence to harm others in the company. And personal aggression is hostile or aggressive behavior towards others. The U.S. Sentencing Commission Guidelines, 1991, they established the following. Companies can be prosecuted and punished for their unethical behavior, covering offenses defined by federal laws. It encourages companies to take proactive steps that will discourage white-collar crimes. And it gives companies an incentive to cooperate and disclose any illegal activity to federal authorities. If you know it, tell it. Managers do not treat all ethical situations the same. Situations differ in intensity. Ethical intensity is the degree of concern people have about an ethical issue. 6 factors must be taken into consideration when determining the intensity of an action. The magnitude of consequences is the total harm or benefit derived from an ethical decision. Social consensus is an agreement on whether behavior is good or bad. And the probability of effect the chance that something will happen that results in harm to others. Temporal immediacy is time between an act and the consequences the act produces. Proximity of effect is the social, psychological, cultural, or physical distance between a decision maker and those affected by their decision. Concentration of effect is the total harm or benefit that an act produces on the average person. Moral development. Lawrence Kohlberg identified 3 phases with 2 stages in each phase. Pre-conventional level, the level in which people make decisions for selfish reasons. Conventional level, level in which people make decisions that conform to society's expectations. And post-conventional, the level in which people make decisions based on internalized principles. Stages of moral development, moral development are as follows, and I'll leave that with you for you to review for a few moments. Again, feel free to pause to study it further. Factors influencing ethical decision making. Ethical principles used by businesses to solve problems and make ethical decisions for the organization. Long-term self-interest. You should never take action that is not in your or your organization's long-term self-interest. Religious injunctions. You should never take any action that is not kind and that does not build a sense of community. And governmental regulations. Never take any actions that violates the law, for the law represents the minimal moral standard. Individual rights. You should never take any action that infringes on others' agreed upon rights. Personal virtue. Never do anything that is not honest, open, truthful, and that you would not be glad to see reported in the newspaper or TV. Distributive justice. Never take any action that harms the least fortunate among us, the poor, uneducated, or the unemployed. And utilitarian benefits. Never take any action that does not result in the greater good for society. So, managers, select and hire ethical employees. Establish a code of ethics for the organization. Train your employees on ethics and ethic decision making. Create an ethical climate. Managers should act ethically and set the role model. Top management should be active and committed to company ethics programs. And you should establish an internal reporting system. Internal whistleblowing. Let them tell you before they go elsewhere. Social responsibility is a business's obligation to pursue policies, make decisions, and take actions that benefit society and in the best interest of the organization. A shareholder model is a view that holds an organization's overriding goal should be profit maximization for the benefit of the shareholders. And the stakeholder model is a view that holds that management's most important responsibility, long-term survival, is achieved by satisfying the interests of multiple corporate stakeholders. Stakeholders are persons or groups with a stake or legitimate interest in the company's action. Primary stakeholders are any group on which an organization relies on for long-term survival. And a secondary stakeholder is any group that can influence or be influenced by a company and can affect public perceptions about the company's social responsible behavior. Social responsibility of an organization. I'm not going to read these to you. Take a moment and read through them. And again, you may pause to read further. Social responsiveness is a company's strategy to respond to stakeholders' economic, legal, ethical, or discretionary expectations concerning social responsibility. First decision is to determine which specific social obligations are implied by the business situation. Management has to be socially responsible towards its stakeholders. But while being socially responsible, important not to waste organizational resources in the process. Deciding what responsibilities are relevant and how to pursue those are the two main challenges facing management today. Responses demand for social responsibility. Again, I'm going to leave this for you to read. Pause if you need to. So, in the end, you need to ask yourself, is your organizational practices ethical? If you're a manager, look within. If you're an employee, look within and encourage your company to have an internal whistleblowing program. So thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.